While it may technically be the offseason, it is a pivotal point for the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos made massive strides and went from 5 wins under Nathaniel Hackett to 8 wins with Sean Payton. But Sean Payton is truly at a crossroads here, and there is buzz all over the league that he is about to pull the trigger and bring in a big name offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. We're going to break down all the rumored names, and I'd love to hear in the comments what you think of the rumors and the speculation. Which one of these signal callers would you love to have wearing orange and blue on the sidelines in the Mile High next year? If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben, and I break down all things Denver sports. It is awesome having you along for the ride. So let's take a look at it. So we know the Denver Broncos had a real up and down year, being 1-5 at one point and having the Miami Dolphins drop 70 on them, to then keeping Pat Mahomes to just 1 touchdown over 2 games, blanking Josh Allen and just shutting down Jordan Love, right? So we had these real highs and lows, but we have heard time and time again that Vance Joseph was not Sean Payton's original preferred candidate for defensive coordinator. In fact, Rex Ryan interviewed at least twice. We know that Vic Fangio was his original choice, and so some would say that Vance Joseph was his third choice in this. And there are rumors coming out that with the Atlanta Falcons not hiring Bill Belichick, that he and obviously the Seattle Seahawks, it looks like they're going to go with Dan Quinn. It looks like Bill Belichick will not land in the head role this year. And the question becomes, what is he going to do? Like, can at his age, can he afford an entire year away from the game? We know that worked for Sean Payton, but does he really want to step away for a year? Would he instead glom on with a team who he thinks he can really take to the next level? And we have heard time and time again how much Sean Payton and Bill Belichick like each other. I think this is a very big long shot to have this happen, but it certainly is a rumor that's spicy, and just imagining what a guy like him could come out and do with a Pat Surtain, with a Barrett Browning, with our fast linebackers. I just think there's some interesting things here to what Bill Belichick would look like on our sideline, how he and Sean Payton would jive, and how not only having Bill Belichick would just immediately raise all boats defensively, but I think at the same time, it just changes the culture and makes that a very serious organization. So I think that is a very big long shot. You heard on the Pat McAfee show when we were 1-5 that Rex Ryan was planning on stepping into this role this year. And I think it is very telling that in that end of season press conference for Sean Payton, we only heard Vance Joseph's name mentioned once or maybe twice. You heard him drop names of a lot of other coordinators, including the quarterback coach and the wide receiver coach, but he only mentioned his offensive and defensive coordinators' names once. And the same is true of George Payton and the Penner group. So I think that's interesting. I don't think these guys are safe. I think the fact that no one... Sean Payton is very plugged into a lot of reporters in the league, and none of them have come out and said that they are safe. So I think that probably means they're not safe. Like we heard before it was officially declared that he was safe on Twitter that George Payton was safe. And the fact that we have not heard that Vance Joseph is locked in shows that could it be Rex Ryan? Could it be Bill Belichick? The other really spicy name that's floating around out there, and this is more just like Reddit floating around out there, is could the Walton Penner Group open up their checkbook and go for a Vrabel? Vrabel is very much in that mold of a Dan Campbell, and I think, having him under Sean Payton, like that defense would terrify me. Like if we had Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick, I just think we have a real seriousness to this defense. I also think there's a lot of good that comes in the consistency. So I don't want Vance Joseph to leave and then we get like a no-name defensive coordinator. But if Vance Joseph could leave and we could do a major upgrade, like getting one of these guys, then I'm all for. Like I think consistency is better than a downgrade, but consistency isn't better than an upgrade. And so I think that'll be extremely, extremely interesting. So the one where I think you could definitely make the argument that we need to do it is outside of that 70 points that we led up to the Dolphins. Our defense, I was impressed with it this year. Like we got turnovers, we struggled stopping the run, but when we were healthy and we had Simmons out there, and we had Pat Surtain playing. Like, I was impressed with our defense when we were at full strength, but our offense lagged behind the league. We again went another season in a row without a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,000-yard receiver. It's like almost every other team in the NFL has at least one of those. Some teams in the NFL have both, and we had neither again. And that's just odd for a Sean Payton-led team. And so there are a lot of people who are saying that our offensive coordinator, who was the former coordinator with the Chargers and with the Lions, but both of the times he was offensive coordinator for those were some of their worst years, and that is Lombardi. And so there are a lot of people saying that we are going to move on from him. And the big names of folks who could replace him, I think the first big name is looking internally. You hear so many people around the league just sing the praises of former NFL quarterback Davis Webb. He is coaching up, I think Bo Nix he's coaching up and others, and we broke down a video on this. He's one of the coaches for the East-West Shrine game, which they pick like up-and-coming coaches in the NFL to do that. So the fact that he was pegged for that shows that a lot of people in the NFL believe in him. You hear Russell Wilson, and it's hard to know sometimes because Russ seems outwardly to praise everyone, which is a really nice quality of him. Like he's a very positive person, but Russ really sings his praises, and it seems like the players love him. And you hear Sean Payton just glow about him. So could it be him? The other big names, if we were to look externally, the ones that I absolutely love is Kliff Kingsbury, and he was like a hot coach with the Cardinals, and it just seems like that was a poorly run organization from ownership down. And I don't know if I blame all of the Cardinals flame out on him, but he seems very much in line with like a Ben Johnson, like a who else am I? Like a Sean McVay. Like he seems like a brilliant play caller who would work best with a very young quarterback. He was famously Pat Mahomes' coach at Texas Tech. So if we could pull the plug and get a Kliff Kingsbury to be an upgrade over a Lombardi, man, I would be all over that. And then the thing that has been just blowing up on social media and everywhere was the Saints fired their longtime offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, who was with Sean Payton for a long time. So as soon as that happened, you just saw everyone retweeting that tweet that he was out saying, like, he's on his way to Denver. And again, the Denver Broncos have not confirmed that Lombardi is safe, which makes me feel like when you don't have a 1,000-yard rusher, you don't have a 1,000-yard receiver, you literally have the worst tight end group as far as production, as far as catches and yards in the entire NFL. We struggled so much offensively. And so I see that being like an easy thing that Sean Payton could bring in. Can you bring in an innovative play caller like a Kliff Kingsbury, or do you bring in someone you trust to help implement your system? Like a head coach has to be so plugged into everything, and Sean Payton is. He's not, while he is ultimately in charge of the offense, we know that Sean Payton involves himself in everything from like pumping in crowd noise. He's making that decision. He's making decisions about, hey, let's paint the center of the field with a big Las Vegas Raiders logo the week before we play the Raiders. And, we're going to Buffalo when it's cold, so let's get brand new windsuits and these cool track suits. And he is a micromanager and involves himself in so many decisions that he can't be plugged into the day-to-day implementation of his offense. And so he truly needs an offensive coordinator who he can trust. And I don't think Lombardi is trustworthy based on how we looked this year. So it's going to be really interesting. Are the Denver Broncos going to make one of those moves that I think all of us would be thrilled to death? So in the comments, can you drop which one of those guys, if we had them as a signal caller in Denver, would you like go buy season tickets for next year? Like if we have Bill Belichick as our defensive coordinator, would you just be like, let's go? If we had Mike Vrabel as our defensive coordinator, would that get you hyped up? If we had Rex Ryan, how would that make you feel? Hide your feet. And then offensively, if we had Davis Webb, would that make you excited? Carmichael from obviously the Saints, or Kliff Kingsbury? So let me know in the comments. Love being around with y'all and Broncos country. Let's giddy up.